Everybody, we are Andrea and Adina from EMAAA, and we are very, very excited because we've just finished our second episode in the best place on earth to talk about emotions. And we talked about overwhelm, and it was wow. We had a couple of guests, but really rich conversations, and we addressed what is overwhelm because it's an individual observation, it's an individual feeling. What do they feel inside? How the body reacts. We talked about baseline. We talked about establishing your why, talking about purpose. What else did we talk about, Adina?
What does it mean actually in the workplace to not be able to say no? I think that's such a big thing because people are afraid of not getting the recognition they need, the salary they want, the promotion, and I think there is a whole stigma around this idea to say it's too much, although everybody's it's feeling it's too much work, too many meetings, too much pressure. And what do you do in an environment where everybody's kind of pushing themselves to the limits, working overtime, working late hours, and doing that? Because can you be the one that it's doing everything differently? And that's where we want to push people. The change needs to start from somewhere. Somebody needs to be the first one to say, if it's too much for me. And that's where Andrea gave an amazing example. Maybe you can also mention here, clear with the story, how you can say that and negotiate boundaries and values. You shouldn't negotiate values, but you should know your values, and you should always know your why. Simon Sinek said it amazingly in his book and in all his speeches. You need to know your why. Why do you go to that job? What is the motivation? Your innate motivation, regardless what other people are validating or feeding back to you. What is your why? You're not obligated to log in into the system and to work for that company. You can do whatever you want that day. Yes, you can call in sick 1 day or 2 days, but after a while you need to log in. So why do you do it?
And breaking patterns and how comfortable you are with breaking patterns, because I give my example of not doing overtime and the situation, because overtime happens a lot in quarter end or year end where there is a lot of pressure, especially for the finance department. But there are rules in place to make work easier, apparently. So there is a cutoff, there are rules of engagement, everybody knows their place, because there are a lot of people involved in a quarter end process, doing specific things, and there is a chain of reaction. So from team to team to team, it takes some time and some effort to build that process. And if one team misses their deadline, then the whole chain misses and delays, like trains. We went to London recently, and we missed the train because all the previous train were delayed. This is working in teams, collaborative processes. So everybody's familiar with that, and everybody should know the rules. So my question was, in the middle of a session explaining the rules, why are some people not following the rules, and why do we have rules in place if people send orders and whatever they need to say after cut off? And I got a non-answer, and then I decided, because that was my boundary, that was my limit, that I didn't do overtime. So I went back to my partner, to my colleagues, to my team, and explained, look, I don't do overtime, I'm useless. After a certain time of the evening, I cannot work anymore and I make mistakes. And like we all know, mistakes are very difficult to correct. Um, when my colleagues stay until 2, 3 a.m., the amount of mistakes done in that period, well, it takes 2 weeks and 100 people to fix them. So why go there? It's inefficient. It common sense. It doesn't make sense to me. So I went back and I started a conversation with my partner and with my team and with a lot of people involved, and say, okay, this is the cutoff. I am not doing anything after the cutoff. We need to make sure we are pushing everything through before the cutoff. And it was an effort. It was a lot of conversations. It was more work during the day, but we managed. And I went home. So that was a brilliant example. Of course, I got, uh, um, I have no recognition. I didn't get any bad messages from the management saying, you know, your colleagues do overtime. Why don't you? I got the results in. And of course, I went home. It was not easy. It was really a big effort to coordinate everything in advance, but it was possible. So it was a personal choice at a certain point. And as long as the results are in, no one can tell you anything. It's even better because guess what? You get more time to correct any potential mistakes. But there is this um, hesitance, this reluctance to go make a change. What if somebody says anything? Well, try it and you'll see. So this is what we talked about, and it was very, very interesting because overwhelm, it's personal, and we need to catch ourselves in that downward spiral because if we go really down, it's really difficult to get back up. And we also talked about the importance of having a baseline, a comfort zone, the zone where you are relaxed and productive, and knowing when you get over that comfort zone and having the tools to get back into it, whether they be, I don't know, body work, you know, going to the gym, taking walks, doing somatic therapies like we encourage people to do, or I don't know, reading, talking, therapy, dancing, some sort of tools, and there are a lot of tools available to get you back into what you call your comfort zone, which, by the way, is your own. So, self awareness at its best, get to know your baseline and your comfort zone.
So it was very exciting. We offer also some somatic practices during this meeting. So we will invite you, if you watch this, to join us. We're doing it this weekly, every Thursday, 12 p.m. UK time. Some weeks when we cannot make that date, we will switch it to another day, but we keep the same time, 12 p.m. UK time, because it's the break time. It's the lunch break in UK. And most people, you know, we can chat. It's very informal. It's nothing mandatory that anybody needs to do. And we don't have PowerPoints. That's a big plus. We also offer some free audits that we're going to link them here in this video. You're going to see in the comments. If you want to audit your well-being, how you are, where you are, what is your baseline, for example? Do you know what a baseline is? And the tools that we want to provide. Or for your company, for your team, if you're an HR manager, if you're a business owner, a CEO who is worried about the workforce and don't know how to approach it, how to deal with it, feel free to book it and we can have a very honest conversation because we each have 20 years experience in corporation, in HR, in customer service, in all the roles. And next week, we're going to talk about psychological safety, which is a terminology that I hate because I think it's misused. So I'm going to address that. Why? I think from an HR perspective, it's not well done, but why it's so needed to have this space and how it can be created in the workplace. So join us. Looking forward to see you there. And please comment on this video. What do you think? How do we look? Do we look good enough? I have the sun in my face, so it's like, whoops. And more to come. Thank you.